The way you plan your 2024 EPCOT day is going to be totally different than how you plan your day for the other 3 Disney World parks. How so? We're going to reveal the best EPCOT strategy for your upcoming trip right here on DFB Guide. Hey everybody, it's AJ for Disney Food Blog. So EPCOT is a park that feels like multiple parks in one. You've got attractions by land and by sea. You've got 11 different country pavilions to explore. You've got so many unique foods to try. And you've got that wonderful glowing Spaceship Earth beacon that's been in the background of millions of family vacation photos over many, many, many years. But because this park has a whole lot going on, you're going to need a solid strategy in place before you go this year. So today we're going to hit you with lots of EPCOT recommendations, itinerary suggestions, and little known strategies that have been flying under the radar for way too long. So starting out strong, we're going to talk breakfast. Some say it's the most important meal of the day, but I say if I don't get fed in the next 30 minutes, you're going to have one hangry AJ to deal with. So if you're rope dropping EPCOT on an empty stomach, here are some of our favorite breakfast options to help keep the hangries away. First up, of course, those pastries. Just to be upfront with y'all, Les Halles Boulangerie Patisserie inside the France Pavilion is probably our favorite spot for a quick morning bite, thanks to its variety and affordable price points. We just don't love the crowds that flock here later on in the day or the lack of indoor seating that you'll need to be aware of before you go. Regardless, breakfast food is good and plentiful inside this pavilion, but perhaps the most classic option you can pick up here is a croissant. They have 3 different croissants at Les Halles, including plain, chocolate, and almond filled. Each croissant ranges in price from $3 to $7 each. Our other pick for a delicious breakfast pastry is a bit controversial, and that's the school bread from Kringle Bakeryag Cafe in the Norway Pavilion. It's a sweet roll filled with custard and dipped in toasted coconut for around $5. It's also got some icing on top. Now, this is another one that Bria and I are divided on, because Bria still thinks that pastries plus coconut taste like you just rolled your dessert in suntan lotion. I, on the other hand, think the sweet vanilla custard is extremely smooth and abundant, while the icing and coconut on top give it just the extra sweetness and texture to make this a must-try treat. Okay, moving on to sandwiches. There are a couple of on-the-go spots to grab a breakfast sandwich at EPCOT if you're looking for something that's going to sustain you for longer. The first is Connections Cafe over in the World Celebration area. Here you're going to find your typical Starbucks options, including those classic breakfast sandwiches. And of course, back at Les Halles again, you can get breakfast sandwiches here too, like the Croissant Salé for around $9.50. This one's pretty basic, topped with egg, bacon, and cheese, but the portion size is decent, which helps balance out the slightly higher price. And if you don't want a breakfast sandwich, but you're still looking for something more savory, Les Halles also has quiche options for you to try too. At the beginning of the year, EPCOT introduced 2 new types of breakfast sandwiches at, of all places, the World Discovery hot dog stand, as well as the World Celebration popcorn cart. The breakfast sandwich is just over $7 and comes with bacon, egg, and American cheese on a roll, but really the roll is just a hamburger bun. Next, if a morning crepe is more your style, then you still need to stick around the France Pavilion first thing in the morning. Right around the corner from Les Halles, in the back of the France Pavilion, is that little quick service crepe stand, which I'm not going to say the name because I'm going to get it wrong. And I'll clarify by saying it's right next to Crêperie de Paris. At least I can sort of say that. Now, here you can order 4 different crepes, including butter and sugar, red berries, house-made hazelnut and chocolate spread, and one topped with ice cream too. Prices range from $7 to $9. And this quick service tends to open right when the park does, around 9 a.m. daily. Now, when it comes to table service breakfast, we absolutely love Garden Grill over in the Land Pavilion, like to the moon and back love it. And while we'd probably prefer eating there for lunch or dinner, just the family-style home-cooked spread alone, breakfast is still a solid option and a cheaper price point too. So for real though, if you eat here for lunch or dinner and you're looking at paying $62 per adult, during breakfast you'll pay $47 per adult and you'll still get all the same restaurant atmosphere, including the fun meet and greets with Chip and Dale and Pluto and Farmer Mickey, and the incredibly unique rotating dining room setup where you'll be able to watch different scenes from the Living with the Land ride happening down below. Now, how about when you're ready to conquer Barf Alley? Welcome one and all to a place in EPCOT that I like to call Barf Alley, but to others you can simply refer to this area as World Discovery. World Discovery is currently home to 2 spinning attraction rides, Mission Space and Guardians of the Galaxy Cosmic Rewind. When Test Track reopens later on in World Discovery after its major re-theme, it shouldn't spin you around like that, but it'll still give you a thrilling launch and reach speeds up to 65 miles per hour, we think, that might still give your tummy a reason to lurch up into your throat. Anyways, Back to the rides you'll be able to ride in World Discovery this year. To ride Mission Space, you'll jump into a normal standby queue like most other rides on property, but the big discrepancy here is that you'll have 2 standby queues to choose from. One for the green mission, one for the orange mission. The orange mission is the more intense of the two. During the ride, your little rocket pod will spin and tilt to simulate the speed and G-forces of a spacecraft launch and re-entry, which is why Disney oh so generously provides complimentary barf bags that you'll find in the front of your seat. Reassuring. Meanwhile, the green mission is the less intense mission with a different storyline. While it's still a motion simulator, it's going to offer lighter movement with no spinning, which might be a much better option for you if you're prone to motion sickness. Then there's Cosmic Rewind, the most popular ride across all of EPCOT, and the only coaster you're going to find here too. As of now, there are only 2 ways to ride Cosmic Rewind, via virtual queue or Lightning Lane single pass. I'm going to talk about multi and single passes a little later on, but just right now, know that single pass is a separate cost that helps you skip over the virtual queue stress entirely. But if you don't want to pay potentially $14 to $17 for a single pass just to skip over the line for this one once, then you need to make sure you set yourself up for success for that free virtual queue beforehand. A virtual queue is a tool available through the My Disney Experience app, which allows you to reserve a space in line for the most popular park attractions. Now, this space is referred to as a boarding pass for use within an assigned boarding group. There's no guarantee you'll snag a boarding group during your day, but there are some things you can do ahead of time to give yourself a better chance of doing so. You'll first want to make sure that you have a registered account on the My Disney Experience app for Disney World installed onto your phone, updated with the latest version, by the way. Then, beginning at 6 a.m. the day of your EPCOT visit, you can tap into the virtual queue and set up your party so that you'll have fewer steps to worry about when boarding groups go live at 7 a.m. and 1 p.m. On the app, after you've selected your desired attraction in the appropriate park under Join Virtual Queue, you're going to find a button that says Confirm Your Party. Once you hit that, the app will find the people who are linked to your account, and you'll select each person you want to add to your party and choose Confirm Party. Then, once the clock strikes 7 a.m., join that queue. Join like the wind, bullseye. Again, if you're prone to motion sickness, the rides in Barf Alley probably aren't going to be ones you'll want to hit back to back, even if they are super close to each other. So just pace things out in a way you know your stomach and head will be able to handle, and make sure to pack your preferred motion sickness prevention meds ahead of your visit too, like non-drowsy Dramamine, or maybe you have non-medication stuff like C-bands or ginger candies. EPCOT also has that first aid station over by the Odyssey Pavilion that you can head to pick up free sample size over-the-counter meds if you need them post-spinning ride. The first aid in the Odyssey Pavilion, by the way, is on the far right-hand side of the Odyssey Pavilion, pointing in the direction of the Mexico Pavilion. So what about when you're on the fence about Disney's new Skip the Line service? Here's what we're going to do with this multi-single pass point. First, I'm going to sum up this new premium Skip the Line service in bare bones fashion so that you can check out our in-depth Lightning Lane videos on your own time instead of having all the Lightning Lane talk clogging up the rest of this fun-filled EPCOT video. And then I'm going to tell you the best way to use, specifically, multi-pass if you decide to invest in it for your EPCOT visit. Single pass is easy. Just get Guardians of the Galaxy. Got that? Fantastic. Okay, so what is multi-pass and single pass? In a way, it's still like the Disney Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lanes, but the biggest change here is that you can now book some Lightning Lanes before your visit, like you used to be able to do with FastPass. Those who are planning on staying in a Disney-owned hotel can book up to 3 multi-pass Lightning Lanes and up to 2 single-pass Lightning Lanes per park day, 7 days before their hotel check-in. Meanwhile, guests who'll be staying off-property can pre-book Lightning Lanes 3 days before their visit. Disney also brought back their tier system that was originally introduced before Genie Plus back in the FastPass Plus days. When making Lightning Lane multi-pass selections for EPCOT ahead of your trip, you'll be able to choose one experience from Tier 1 and 2, or all 3 if you want, experiences from Tier 2. All right, now that I've caught you up to speed, let me give you the cold hard truth about using Lightning Lanes in EPCOT. For the majority of the rides in this park, you're really not going to need Lightning Lanes unless you're visiting during a really busy time of year like spring break or Thanksgiving or that chunk of time between Christmas and leading up to New Year's. The 3 rides that typically see the longest waits in EPCOT, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure, Frozen Ever After, and Soarin' Around the World, are all listed as Tier 1 rides, so you can only pre-select one of them and then hope that you can book the others during your EPCOT day. Side note, after you use your first Lightning Lane of the day, you're allowed to book another one immediately after for any ride that still has return time availability, regardless of whether it was a Tier 1 or Tier 2. Tiers are only a thing when you're pre-selecting lightning lanes, but they don't apply on the day of your visit. Meanwhile, all of EPCOT's Tier 2 selections normally never see that long of a wait in the first place. Some of them might even be walk-ons during the day. Even Soarin', one of the top tier attractions, can drop down to a 20 or 30 minute wait in the afternoon. Just gotta keep an eye on the My Disney Experience app so you'll know the best time to get in line for it. All of this is to say, if you do purchase an EPCOT multi-pass, they can help you bypass the lines for Remy's and Frozen, which might be worth the purchase alone. But otherwise, if you're not planning on maybe park hopping to Hollywood Studios later on, which is a whole other topic of lightning lane conversation entirely that we cover in our most recent multi-pass videos, then you may want to skip the multi-pass purchase entirely and try instead getting on those top tier rides first thing in the morning or towards the end of the night, when the standby queues might not be quite as intense. Since EPCOT's had some pretty major changes lately, by the way, we recently updated our EPCOT Quick Guide so that this free digital download is going to hook you up with the whole park breakdown, best food, travel tips, sample itineraries, and more from our team, all in one easy to digest guide on the go. Scan the QR code you see on the screen now or head to disneyfoodblog.com/EPCOT after this. Super easy, super free. Now, what if you're looking for a monorail shortcut? Welcome to the Transportation and Ticket Center, otherwise known as the TTC. If you're staying at a monorail resort, you're going to want to ride your resort's monorail to the TTC and then swap over to the EPCOT line to transport you the rest of the way to the park. But here's DFB coming at you with a TTC shortcut many folks don't take advantage of. If you just follow everybody else, they're going to be getting off the resort monorail and turning left to exit out into the TTC. But that's not the easiest way to go when you're going to EPCOT. They do have signs, so make sure to follow them. When you see a sign for EPCOT, just go that way instead. When you get off the monorail, turn to the right. This is going to take you on a little private ramp made to go specifically from the resort monorail to the EPCOT monorail. The pathway goes down a hill underneath the monorail lines and then back up to the other side where it's going to drop you off by the EPCOT loading area. Now, it almost feels strange to take this pathway because it looks kind of like a backstage area, but I promise you I wouldn't be telling you about it if that were actually the case. We're kind of goody two-shoes when it comes to following the rules, and we want to keep it that way. In fact, Disney actually has those signs directing people down this path, but they're often missed because they're kind of small, and when you get off the monorail, you just gotta follow everybody else, right? But if you take this path, you'll not only have a little bit shorter of a walking distance to trek, but you'll also cut back on the crowds too. Plus, this shortcut is shaded and covered, so it's a nice canopied walk whenever it's raining. What about when you want the best nighttime itinerary? EPCOT by day, awesome, 2 thumbs up. EPCOT by night, a completely different experience. Also 2 thumbs up. So what EPCOT experiences should you make sure to pad your final few hours of the park with after the sun goes down? Well, I got a list for you. Nighttime activity number 1, watch 1 or 2 showings for the Beacon of Light. The Beacons of Light show projects across Spaceship Earth every 15 minutes after the sun sets for the remainder of the night. During the festivals, you'll be able to catch more than 1 light show variety each night since the shows will switch between the classic Beacon of Light presentation and the limited time festival specific one too. Nighttime activity number 2, try out Space 220. This isn't something you necessarily have to do at night, but it's fun and it's different. Before you're taken up to the Centauri space station, aka the main dining room for Space 220, you'll have to ride a Stellarator to help you reach this station 220 miles above EPCOT. Depending on what time of day you're going to this restaurant and lounge will determine what your Stellarator ride is going to be like. By day, you'll blast off and return to Earth while it's still light out, but by night, the Stellarator scene shifts with the time change to reflect those evening vibes. You might even see the fireworks. Nighttime activity number 3, walk through the Journey of Water inspired by Moana. Journey of Water is a great immersive walking trail where you can play with living water when you need to cool down during the day, but the lighting effects and hazy atmosphere that fills this attraction by night makes it worth a return visit. Nighttime activity 4, find that spot to see Luminous. Much like Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, EPCOT has a nighttime spectacular that happens each night called Luminous, the Symphony of Us, which has a heavy emphasis on fireworks, music, and fountains. As long as you're standing around the World Showcase Lagoon, you should have a pretty decent view of the show, but EPCOT also offers fireworks dining packages at Rose and Crown in the UK Pavilion and Spice Road Table in the Morocco Pavilion, both of which provide you with a meal and a picture-perfect view of the show. You can make advanced dining reservations for these packages through the Disney World website starting 60 days before your visit. Nighttime activity number 5, ride Living with the Land. Again, this isn't necessarily something you have to do at night, but because Living with the Land takes you through EPCOT's real working greenhouses, it's always kind of fun and slightly eerie to ride this one when the sun is set. What makes a nighttime ride even more enticing for Living with the Land is when you come here around the holiday season, since the ride's going to be decked out with Christmas lights and seasonal decor. Nighttime activity number 6, check out Impressions de France. Back in the France Pavilion, there's a Palais du Cinema where you can catch 2 different shows throughout the day. At the very beginning of the day, starting at early theme park entry and lasting till around 9:30 a.m., you can watch Impressions de France, which is basically a little movie highlighting all the cool touristy parts of France. For the rest of the day, between 10 and 6:30, the cinema plays a Beauty and the Beast sing-along show. But once that wraps up, Impressions de France will return from 7 to 8:45 p.m. That's just a little if you know, you know. Nighttime activity number 7, explore the World Celebration Gardens. Sure, the gardens are nice and serene during the day, but if you go here at night, the pavement and beams surrounding these gardens illuminate with colors. And during the Beacons of Light performances, they also pulse in sync with the show. Really chill, kind of meditative, very cool. Okay, hello everybody. I just want y'all to know that I see you, I hear you, and I understand you. We talk a lot about the refillable water stations in Disney World, and they're still a great and free way to stay hydrated all day long. But I also understand there are some major concerns when it comes to the free water stations around the parks. While some of them are going to give you nice, tasty, and cold water, others still give you that sort of lukewarm Florida sulfur water flavor that's not great, to put it nicely. That's why I also like to bring along those flavor packets. You know, this was a big tip back on the message boards in the 90s, but sometimes it never hurts to bring along a little lemonade packet or something just to make that water taste a little better. This is going to cut back on any swampy taste you might receive, not just in Disney World, but even like back in your hotel room when you're just trying to get a sip of water out of the bathroom tap. With all that being said, sometimes you might find more success in your water selection if you stick with the free quick service water cups instead. Not saying they can't still taste swampy at times, but you'll have a better chance at getting water that's filtered and tastes less swampy if you're getting it through one of those Coca-Cola Freestyle stations. But here's some really good news for all you future EPCOT guests out there. One of the best spots to get ice water in possibly all of Disney World is actually tucked away in an otherwise overlooked EPCOT quick service. If you head to the China Pavilion and stop by the Lotus Blossom, the cast members here will often give you a pre-made cup of ice water with a lid. They also have straws in a container on the counter, so it's much easier to sip this one on the go instead of tipping it back and dumping ice in your face. Other great spots to get good tasting water in this park are at Spice Road Table, where there's a self-serve dispenser to the right of the host stand that's available for everybody, and at Sunshine Seasons, where the drink machine is open access. So some of my favorite places to hang out in all of EPCOT tend to be the spots people rarely frequent. I'm talking about those World Showcase cultural galleries that are always super zen and relaxing, like inside the Shanghai Disneyland Resort exhibit at the China Pavilion, and the American Heritage Gallery at the American Adventure, the Bijutsu Con Gallery at the Japan Pavilion, and the Gallery of Arts and History in Morocco. And speaking of the Morocco Pavilion, the former restaurant Marrakesh building has recently reopened its doors for all EPCOT guests, not just annual pass holders, everybody, to use as a place to get away from the sun and the crowds. The restaurant part of the building still isn't up and running yet, and who knows if it ever will be at this point, but you can still chill in its dining room for just as long as you need to. No purchase necessary. But just recently, I've added a couple more super zen and relaxing spots to the list here that actually have nothing to do with the World Showcase. The first is World Celebration Gardens, which I touched on briefly earlier in this video, but want to dive more into that area now. World Celebration Gardens is the area just behind Spaceship Earth. Think of it like EPCOT's very own Central Park. There are walking trails, plenty of greenery, there's a picture op with a Walt Disney statue, but best of all, there's lots of seating and lots of outlets, meaning you can relax and unwind and charge your phone all in one. The only big downside with this new seating area is that it's still outside, which is where Communicore Hall comes into play. There's been a lot of controversy surrounding Communicore Hall ever since it opened on June 10th of this year that I'm not going to get into right now because that'll kick us off in a whole other rabbit trail, but I do talk about the Communicore drama during our Lessons You'll Learn the Hard Way video if you want to check that out. But one thing that can be said about Communicore Hall is that it's definitely a nice spot to get out of the sun, get into the AC, and take a quick breather during your park day away from all the crowds. But Crowds can pick up around this area once a festival starts up. And that's because during EPCOT's festivals, you're going to see Communicore bring the fests to the heart of the park with all of its different food offerings and art and live music and exhibitions and more, we hope. Now, how about when you want a personalized souvenir? EPCOT already has a bunch of unique souvenirs you can pick up all around World Showcase. I think I've mentioned before that sometimes I treat the EPCOT shops as more of a museum than anything else, because even if I don't wind up buying something in one of the pavilions, I just like to look at all the fun stuff while I'm there. But what makes some of these souvenirs even more unique is your ability to personalize them, to make them truly customized for you. So here are some of our favorite spots to get personalized merch in the World Showcase. These are great for gifts as well, by the way. First up, carved rings. You can personalize a ring at the ring carvers located outside the Mexico Pavilion. These guys have been there forever. Choose your style from brass, silver, or gold, and then choose the message you want engraved across the ring. If you can't make it over to EPCOT during your next trip, you can also find a ring carver's location inside Disney Springs over in the marketplace. Custom gift number 2, glassware. In the Germany Pavilion, you can stop at Glasskunst to get your own custom message and design engraved into the glassware. There's a lot of different options to choose from here, including wine glasses, champagne flutes, tumblers, and steins. Custom gift 3, personalized fans. Mitsukoshi inside the Japan Pavilion sells an array of Japanese fans that are already super pretty and affordable, with prices ranging around $4 to $6 depending on the design. But if you want them personalized, that fee is included with the cost of the fan. How cool is that? Custom gift number 4, coat of arms. Inside the UK Pavilion, the Crown and Crest shop has a room filled with family crests. Here, you're going to find a book with last names from around the world. Once you find yours, a cast member can find out your family name's history and even show you your family crest. Now, all of that is free of charge, which is pretty cool. But if you want to take your family crest home with you, you can get it as a personalized plaque, which ranges in price from around $25 to $75, depending on the style you're after. Custom gift number 5, those Venetian masks. Inside La Gemma Elegante within the Italy Pavilion, you'll find a huge selection of hand-painted and ornately decorated Venetian carnival masks. These are super authentic. All the masks you're going to find in the shop are impressive, but if you're looking for something a little more personalized, you can design your own mask here. There are different mask styles to let your creativity shine, so choose wisely. And custom gift number 6, those perfume bottles. If you pay a visit to Plume Palette inside the France Pavilion, when the shop's offering perfume bottle engravings, you can get your nice glass perfume bottle customized for free, with your perfume purchase, of course. There are a variety of designs that you can choose from, or you can even have it personalized with your name. Now, if you haven't been checking out our DFB website recently, then you've been missing out on all the Tiny Train Town drama. You see, the Tiny Train Town, located on the outskirts of the Germany Pavilion, is a place where our DFB reporters have witnessed trouble afoot. We're talking criminal behavior, outright lawlessness, and dare we say, even murder. Okay, not really. We just like to have fun building stories around this little town and all the shenanigans that might be going on behind the scenes. It's like when you go to a restaurant and you try to imagine the entire life story of the person sitting 2 tables over from where you are. It's fun and fictional and totally addicting. We even have shirts over on the DFB store website for all of you DFB folks who are also invested in the Tiny Train Town drama, featuring the biggest Tiny Train Town antagonist of them all, the EPCOT squirrels. Now, while I can't tell you that our little tales of tragedy are part of the Train Town canon, I can tell you there are indeed 2 major truths about this little area of the park that you'll want to see to believe. First, Tiny Train Town also likes to celebrate the EPCOT festivals. Yep, just take a look at those itty-bitty signs and banners that the tiny villagers like to place around town. It really speaks to my miniature-loving heart. And second, select villagers can turn into zombies. Nope, this isn't DFB jumping the shark with our Tiny Train Town lore. You can literally transform some of the villagers into zombies with your phone. This has been going on since the Kim Possible game way back when. If you download the free Play Disney Parks app, you can take part in the DuckTales World Showcase adventure, which is an interactive mission where you'll join Huey, Louie, Dewey, and the rest of the Duck Squad to help, save the world and stuff. There are 7 missions total across 7 different pavilions, one of which happens at the Germany Pavilion. I won't spoil the rest for you because the zombie part is probably a big enough spoiler as is, but let me just say the DuckTales World Showcase adventure doesn't get enough love. It is exciting, it's super interactive, it gives you a chance to explore different parts of these pavilions that maybe you would have overlooked otherwise. It's free to play, and you don't have to wait in a standby queue to help the team recover those 7 lost magical treasures. Now, FYI, if you do want to pick up one of those Tiny Train Town Tragedies t-shirts, you can get those over at dfbstore.com. All right, let's get some discussion going in the comments. Is EPCOT your favorite Disney World park? Or is there another Disney World park that's got your heart? Whatever the case may be, make sure to check out our other 2024 best strategy videos for the other Disney parks. And don't forget to claim your free EPCOT quick guide over at disneyfoodblog.com/EPCOT. Thanks for listening, everyone, and thanks for watching. As always, this is AJ for Disney Food Blog, and we'll see you real soon.